How to negotiate the purchase price when you're buying a home. This is a question I get asked all the time. How do I even make an offer? How much lower should I offer when I'm talking to the agent? How do you even go about making an offer? Do you put it in writing? Do you put it on an email? Do you do it on the phone? In today's video, we're going to break down how to negotiate the purchase price when you're buying a home. A couple of techniques that can save you a fair chunk on the purchase price when you're dealing with an agent. Remember, these guys are skilled negotiators. You want to be able to come out with the upper hand and ultimately secure that home for the best price possible. Starting from the top, Nathan, let's break down the market because the market conditions can change. If it's really frothy, if it's a buyer's market, it can be harder than if it's a seller's market. You need to see. So what is the difference starting from the top?
Yeah, look, I had a client recently had tremendous success with understanding the techniques we're going to talk about today. They found a property that actually said offers over $949. Now, when they talked to me, they said, Nathan, what do we do? The first step we talked about was understand what market you're in. The first step, understanding the market. Are you in a buyer's market? A buyer's market is where there's less competition. The property's been on the market for a few more days, maybe 30, 60 days. It hasn't moved that quickly. Or are you in a seller's market where properties are getting snapped up? They're on the market for 1 week and then they're moving quickly. I talked to my client, offers over $949, and we looked it up. And sure enough, on RP data, the property had been listed for over 60 days. We could already get an understanding that maybe it's more of a buyer's market. He went to the open home. There was actually no one there. It was just him and the agents. First step, understand what market you're in. For this client, we knew we were in a buyer's market, which meant we could actually go a little bit harder on the negotiation, start lower and work our way up. Now, typically when a real estate agent puts offers over $949, in this example, they're actually looking at offers in the high nines, maybe low ones. When I spoke to my client, we sort of said, well, why don't we start maybe 910, start off low, give ourselves a little bit of wiggle room and see how we go. Sure enough, the client made the offer on a Friday afternoon, $910,000 in writing, subject to 14 days finance, subject to 14 days building a pest, and subject to 30-day settlement. The next day, the real estate called him and said, hey, mate, I received that offer. It is a little bit low. 910 is far lower than what we were expecting. We're wanting offers over 949, but hey, I'll put it to the owner and see what happens. Later that day, the real estate agent called my client and said, hey, we've got a deal. If you can meet us at 975, it's a done deal. It's a sure bet. It's your property. Well, we spoke again, the client and I, and we sort of said, well, hey, once again, it's a buyer's market. It's unlikely this property is going to get snapped up over the weekend. Let's just sit and hold and see what happens. So the client called the real estate agent back and said, mate, I'm going to sit tight at my 910 offer, and I'm pretty happy. I'm worried that rates are going to go up. I'm worried that the market's going to go down. Gave him all his reasons and left it at that. Needless to say, the next day, the real estate agent called the client and said, hey, the sellers actually found another property they want to move on. We're going to be able to move. We'll go to 950. 950 is our last offer, and we're not going to move any further from this. Let's get the deal done. Once again, the client and I spoke. We sort of thought, well, they've come down from 975 to 950. Once again, there's no interest in this property. We know that because when we were at the open home, there was no one there. My client called the real estate agent again and said, hey, mate, I'm sticking at 910. Once again, I'm worried about interest rates. I'm worried about where the market's going to go. I'm happy at 910. And the agents just said, well, mate, I don't think we're going to be able to meet you there. And once again, it was just left at that. The next day, the real estate called again and said, hey, I haven't talked to the seller. If we can get the price at 925 and your terms down from 14 days for finance to 7 days for finance, and instead of a 30-day settlement, can you do like a 25-day settlement? Work with me here. I might be able to get the deal done. Will you be interested? My customer said, yes, let's do it. We'll do it at 925. So they made a move. They trimmed up some of their terms, and lo and behold, they were able to get the property at 925. Now that's a significant reduction from the initial offer, which was 975 that the owners were after. They'd come down 50 grand, or effectively $25,000 every day. So no two negotiations are the same, but we can see here, the first step, understand what market you're working in. If you're in a buyer's market, working slow and taking your time, can work for you. I've seen clients where they get really emotionally charged and worried about what's going to happen with their offer, and they need to get back to the agent quickly because they're going to miss out. But in a buyer's market, that actually works against you. Once again, if it's a seller's market, you need to be moving quickly. This strategy would absolutely not work in a seller's market because you would have been outbid by the 30 or 40 other offers that are in front of you. As we talked about there, understanding some of the terms. So if you cut down some of your terms, you're not moving on price so much, but it's making you look like you're moving on things. I think there's a bunch of things to take away there from that negotiation story that you can use straight away. As I said, no two negotiations are the same. So you could use this exact same strategy and it might not work, but it's important to understand.
The other thing your client did a good job of understanding there, Nathan, is finding out why the vendor or the seller is selling. I think you mentioned there that they were looking at buying another property and they kind of use that as a sort of justification for, reducing the terms.
That's right. In that scenario, the seller actually was looking to sell their home and upgrade, using that in their advantage to try and get the deal done quicker. Trimming the terms down certainly helped. And I think once again, it's important to understand that when you're getting involved in a negotiation, if you understand a few little critical factors, you can sort of tell the agent your concerns, rates are going up, property prices are coming down, I don't think the market's moving. Sometimes that can work in your favor because that's getting relayed to the vendor, and then the vendor is having to make those tough decisions on where they think they're going to land. The other thing also is we've got access to RP Data CoreLogic. Jumping on that, we've got ability to give you reports. It'll show you how long the property's been on the market. Understanding if the property's been on the market for the last 100 days, well, you know straight away there's been no real interest, or if there has been interest, it's not really got any traction. On top of that, I would suggest going on realestate.com.au. Look under the sold section, because under the sold section, that's where you're going to be able to see other properties like the one you're interested in selling. And you really want to look at the ones that have sold in the last 30 days. The reason why you want to look at what's sold in the last 30 days, if another 2-bedroom, 300 square meter house has sold for $900,000 only 15 days or 20 days ago, well, then that's where the market's at. You shouldn't be offering anything above that. Potentially, if the market's sliding down, maybe you go under that. So there's a bunch of things to be aware of. Here at Hunter Galloway, we help a lot of our home buyers understand the market and what's going on. So you can contact us on 1300-088-065, where we can help with all your mortgage broker needs, getting your finances sorted, but not only that, holding your hand through the process.